So if you're a small agency owner who is involved in construction projects, maybe it's architecture, maybe it's designing spaces at events, maybe you're kind of confused or you're not sure about should you go in on AI. And so I want to kind of just briefly talk about how to think about this question. Not here to tell you like yes, you should go or no, you shouldn't be, because of course the answer is more nuanced, but I want to kind of give you some pointers about what we've seen in implementing AI agents within the event space, especially specifically around how to price complex projects. And so I think maybe I want to talk briefly about this and give you some insights. Because when we talk about AI, it brings a lot of passion on one side or another. Either people are saying, this is completely evil, you shouldn't be implementing it at all. On the other side, there is, well, it's completely changing and completely it's revolutionizing my business. And if you're a reasonable person, probably you know that the answer is in the middle. And so that's what I believe as well. And so that's what I wanted to kind of talk to you about today. First of all, when we talk about AI, this is like the keyword AI. Generally speaking, when in 2026, when people talk about AI, they talk about models like ChatGPT or Claude or those generative large language models, which now also do image generation and whatnot. But usually, those models are not just on their own the transformation that you go through when you apply them to the business. It's generally more of a software transformation process. And so right away, I think this is the parentheses that I wanted to bring here is to say, hey, when you're thinking about an AI project, it's not just AI. It's actually how do I think about this as like this general software transformation process. Before AI, before it was actually mainstream in 2022, software transformation projects were common thing in businesses, mostly in bigger ones, but sometimes also in smaller ones. Maybe you already have purchased some software. Buying Excel for your team might actually be, could be considered like a software project. And so we have to think about those things as software projects and not this thing of, well, it's AI, so it's just AI. So it's kind of like magic, right? Like I just push it on, which to be fair, AI providers and coaches online have talked about this as like, well, this is just, it's kind of like this silver bullet. And the answer is it's not. It has to be thought through as like this software transformation process. So right away, what we tell our clients, and this has been through iteration with countless of discussions we've had with agencies, small to large, we ask them like, is it even worth it? And when we ask this question, really, we're asking, is this transformation we're going to be applying, this AI we're going to be applying, this software we're going to be applying, is this actually lifting a constraint that your business is having? Case in point, if our AI agent is solving pricing, which means that we are able to cut down the process of pricing a project down from at least 4 hours down to 15 minutes, is this actually going to be changing the way that your business works? And to us, it kind of seemed obvious at first. We're kind of like, well, of course, it completely changes the process. But for some businesses, actually, they don't really care because the problem that they have is not the speed at which they deliver pricing, it's that they don't have enough prospects and leads to come in. But we're really focused on like we're just in this specific problem here, problem space, which is the pricing space, that we didn't necessarily look at, well, actually the actual pain that the entrepreneur, the business owner is feeling is more on the side of actually leads coming in. So that's the kind of first warning that I want to bring is to say, hey, if you're just thinking, okay, I'll just want to put AI, I just want to put software, why is that the case? Like, is there an actual constraint or pain that your business is feeling that would actually warrant this? If you're in the case where you have too many leads coming in and your capacity to actually answer bids and submit offers to potential customers is limited because your time of to price is too long, then that's completely something that we can talk about. But that is something that is usually not always the case. So kind of take a look at, okay, well, let's not just implement this tool just for the sake of it. Let's actually look at what is the business constraint in that case. Now, as I was saying, we have this AI transformation, which is actually just a software transformation. And AI is part of that software transformation, which means actually you're going to have people using those AI. It's not going to be this like completely automated stuff. We believe that it's really essential to keep an expert in the loop, or at least a human in the loop, that verifies and checks the output of the AI, because that's really the responsibility of the person using the AI, is to actually say, well, this I put my name on this output. So there's always a verification process. Otherwise, you completely lose the quality and potentially you lose the ownership of the output that was provided. So when we have people creating price quotes with our AI agents, we always tell them, like, this is, at the end of the day, it speeds things up, but this is going to be your responsibility. You own that output, and AI just helps you go through it. So this is something that that people will be using this AI. So what this means is that you're going to have people change the way that they work. And so this can seem like a bit of a simple thing, but if you have never gone through a software transformation process or adoption, then it's actually sometimes the most challenging part, is to have people who are experts on their domains. They've been maybe doing the same process for like 15 years, 20 years, and you're, first of all, coming to tell them, like, hey, your process could be done better. And also, you're going to be doing this on this new tool. For some people, it's completely okay. For some others, it's going to be really hard. And so the actual goal as a business owner or a team lead going through a software adoption, be it AI or software, is going to be a lot of time spent on adoption, on making sure, okay, well, are you going to be okay using those tools? Do you have what you need to use those tools? Is the tool really well made for your work, and it's not just adding more work for you? And usually those first impressions of saying to your team, hey, this is a new tool, you can start using it, is very brittle and has to be done really carefully. So this change management is a big part of it. And so that's why when I say, like, we ask the question, hey, should you actually adopt AI? You have to be thinking through, okay, well, how does that mean? We have to take it seriously and to say, okay, well, this is going to be something that I need to be involved in completely. And the teams that we have the most success for in terms of adopting AI is the teams where there's a lead who is completely involved and completely convinced that this is the way that you should be going to, and actually spending some time talking to the team and being and owning this transformation project of saying, like, this is where we're going, because if we don't, then whatever that means for the business. So this is a key thing, I think, in terms of like understanding that you're going to have to lead the thing. It's not going to be just like, hey, team, here's the access to this new tool, just start using it. No, this has to be thought through, and it has to be owned and pushed through. And the last point I wanted to talk about briefly, which I think is a key thing here, and that probably a lot of people are, and a lot of business owners are asking themselves, is, can you afford not to go into AI? Now, again, I don't like those binary questions. And I mean, binary questions are okay, like yes or no questions, but usually the answer is always a bit nuanced. And we see a lot of businesses that are working really well. But the fact is that some of their competitors are going to be starting to use AI for different cases, right? And so what we tell our clients when, sometimes they even tell us, actually, it's more them telling us, like, they understand that if they don't go into this, okay, well, new way to actually work, which in our case, for example, is new way to actually price their projects whilst keeping the precision and the accuracy of what they were doing before, then potentially another company, either existing or new, using those tools could pretty much completely change and outperform them on the market. And so, if they're submitting a bid, right, there's company A that uses our AI agent to actually price their projects in 15 minutes. And then another company that doesn't really have this, and maybe they take like, a day, sometimes days, sometimes weeks even, because they have to wait for another supplier to come back. Then, of course, the client who's receiving those offers at the end of the day, they're probably going to prefer the ones that are really fast, because that's where we're headed. I don't know if this is bad or good. This is not a moral question of this. It's just the reality of how the world seems to be going into, and those industries seem to be going to. Whether you're an architect, whether you're creating trade show booth, whether you're setting up events, stages, whatnot, this is probably the world where we're going into, where your clients as an agency are going to be expecting faster and faster. Again, not questioning the morality of it. This is not the topic here. It's just what is going to be happening. So I hope this brings you some light in terms of as an agency owner or as a team lead within an agency, what posture should you take? What position should you be taking? It is really a complex problem. It goes into morality, societal consequences, and the way that we work. And it's one of the most consequential changes that we're seeing now. And so I think there's a path where we can get some value and it can actually help us. This technology can help us rather than the opposites. But I think it's a narrow path. And so we have to navigate it. And it's always helpful to talk about it between people. So I would always encourage that to do that within your team as well. Don't just, don't talk about it and then bring a solution. But yeah, this is not a video about how to actually do it, how to actually adopt AI within your team. I'll be talking about this in another video, but this was something that I think was important to say because this is what we hear our clients talk about. Should you actually adopt or go into AI if you're an agency that might not be, well, you might think that you're not actually concerned by this problem. So thanks for watching.